Well, we're finally here. It's the final video of my DIY farmhouse table. As you can see, I've got some chairs here, which I did not build myself because it would have taken way too much time. We actually got these from IKEA. They were unfinished pine chairs. We got 6 of them. We paid about $25 a piece for them. I then took them home and stained the seats to the chairs with the same English chestnut stain that I used for the tabletop. Putting 2 coats on it, the same as I had done with the tabletop. I went through and did all 6 and went back through and did 6 coats of polyurethane over the top of them as well to seal in the stain and give them a nice shine. Here's what they look like with just the stain on them. I love the grain on this wood. It looked really nice. On the right you can see one that's been stained. On the left you can see one that had the polyurethane on it. Came out very, very shiny. They look gorgeous. My wife painted the backs and legs of the chairs, and this is what they look like when she was done painting them, and then I assembled the seats onto the chairs. They came out looking gorgeous and they matched the table perfectly. So after we put them all together, we took them inside and put them underneath the table. And as you can see, the stain pretty much matches perfectly with the chairs and the tabletop. Looks like they were both built together. I then got to work on the bench seat that I was going to put across the length of one side of the table. I first started by cutting all of my pieces to length that I was going to need in order to make the bench frame. I then took my 2x4s that I was using for the bench top and cut them to length, and then took pocket hole screws and my Craig jig and made pocket holes and assembled the 2x4s. I then took my 4x4s for the length and measured where I was going to be notching out again for my 2x4 cross member, and then took my table saw at a depth of 1.5 inches and then notched it out 3.5 inches wide so that it would fit the 2x4s inside the 4x4s, so that it would be a matching pattern the same way that it was for the table. It takes a long time to get it all completely notched out. You can use a chisel to do that after you put a couple cuts in it, but I find that it's easier just to run it straight through on the table saw until you get it completely notched out. And this is what it looks like with the cross members going across on the legs for the bench. I then put the 1x4 piece on the top railing, and then I built the frame that the legs were going to be attached to, that the bench seat goes across, with 1x2 cross members across the top of it. When I got it together and I used the tested out the bench top, I didn't like how wide it was, so I went one more 2x4 wide. It called for 4 2x4s, but then I used 5. It gave me a wider bench top. I then took the tabletop and put it, or the bench seat top, and put it on my sawhorses, and got the same English chestnut stain out and stained the top of the seat for the bench, putting 2 more coats of stain on it, and then got my polyurethane out, doing the same as I did with the tabletop and the same that I did with the seat tops for the chairs, putting 6 coats of the wipe-on polyurethane on top of the seat for the bench, to give it the same amount of coat, same amount of stain, so everything match. This is what the top of the bench looked like with the stain on it. It's just such a beautiful dark color. We really fell in love with it. after we got everything stained. I think it really made the grain pop in the pine, which is a very light, soft wood. And then this coming up is what it looked like with a couple coats of the polyurethane on it. I didn't make a video for all the coats of polyurethane because if you watched the first two videos, you saw how I went through with that process. After I got done, I flipped the bench top over and put the frame on the bottom of it, and then took screws and screwed through the cross members onto the bottom and brought it inside and put it next to the table. And this is what it looks like, completely put together, 100% done with the project. Me and my wife absolutely love the way that it came out. And now we have a table that sits 10 in our brand new dining room. Graham tells you to like and subscribe this video, and thank you for watching.